Hi, friends. Did you miss me? I've been gone 2 months. My name is Shelly, and this is my channel, Oh My Ada. It is a channel about cross stitch, and I believe this is my 25th episode. Although I haven't recorded in 2 months, I have noticed a slight uptick in subscribers. So I definitely want to say, hey, thank you for being here, and I hope that you enjoy the information that I share with you. To those of you that are returning, welcome back. I definitely love having conversations with you and answering your questions. So comment away whether you're new, you're returning, whether you've been to StitchCon or whether you want to go to StitchCon. Maybe you're stitching the same thing as me. Did you want my background colors for coffee break? I am here and at your disposal. I want to answer your questions. I want to get to know you. And the best way for you to get to know me is through my cross stitch. So let's hit it. I got back from StitchCon on Sunday. I attended StitchCon A, but today is Tuesday, June 15th, and hopefully this video will be up on the 16th. I don't know with my Wi-Fi that will always work, but that's my goal. May is typically my busiest time of the year. I'm working on reading and grading research projects, as well as essays written by my freshmen. With distance learning, I was so overwhelmed, so exhausted and mentally drained that I wanted to stitch. And instead of filming FlossTube, I did stitch. And I know no one begrudges me that. But then I kept thinking to myself, I really want to record my FlossTube, even if it's a couple weeks late. And then I got closer and closer to the end of the year and senior activities and graduation and final grades and then StitchCon. So school ended on Friday. That was the last day of work. And Wednesday, I flew to StitchCon. And between Friday and Wednesday, I made 9 bags to hand out while I was there. But since we've been together last, there was Mother's Day. So I hope you were kind to your mother and your children celebrated you. There was Memorial Day, which I did have a day off work for that, to remember the soldiers that had fallen in service to our country. I even signed up to be the varsity tennis coach. And you might wonder why I would do that. And I have the one qualification the students need. I have this magical ability to turn oxygen into carbon dioxide. And they needed someone and they were desperate. And I wanted the seniors to have, or the kids, not just the seniors, but I wanted the students to have as much of a normal year as possible. And I didn't want them to miss out because they didn't have a coach. And then the day I was to be hired, another person applied and they told me about it. And at that point, I'd already decided that this was my team and I was working with them. And when someone more qualified showed up at the last minute to apply, they were still going to give it to me, but I felt for the benefit of the students, they deserved as best a coach as they could have. And so I stepped back. There was state testing, even in a pandemic. The high stakes tests are going on. And I also volunteered to work at senior events like a senior kickback night where the students went and played games and took pictures and then watched Ferris Bueller's Days Off. So all of that on top of my teaching and grading schedule really did take a large chunk of time. And although I was really sad to give the tennis team up, I think it was for the best, and I was able to use that time to stitch, and that stitching time really soothes me and calms me down and helps me relax and prepare for the next day. And I don't know if you feel that way or not, but I feel like I need to stitch a little bit every day. Whip though for April, because I didn't finish out April with you because I record for the 16th. I never got to the gingerbread lighthouse, so I'm behind on that, but I did finish the section on the Greyfriar sampler. I wanted the flowers to be finished, and the flowers are finished. So April, I got 1 out of 2 finishes. And then in May, they called Greyfriar sampler again, or not they, but Jessie Marie called Greyfriar's sampler again. And I was supposed to finish the alphabet, which I didn't even touch. So I also had to finish or start and finish One Ice Cream Lady by Soda Stitch. And the chart is Ice Cream Ladies. And they have these really swirly ice cream bouffant hairdo types. I'm going to put in a clip a little later of my finish because somehow in my mind it all came together where I ended up stitching that little lady in miniature form for my smalls exchange. So again, I only had 1 finish out of the 2 for May, but I still think that's a good compromise. Now, remember, this was the last official Mania before they took the Facebook page down or turned it off. I'm not sure what they do. And accidentally, I participated in Monogamania. And for all of May and part of June, the only whip that I wanted to work on was Mini Autumn Sampler. Not Mini Autumn Sampler. Mini Autumn Magic by Randall Spangler. Now my whip go goal was 1 page. I don't have a full page completed, but I have 8,000 stitches done, and I do consider that a page finish. I will put up here a picture of what Mini Autumn Magic will look like when it's done. I love stitching on this, and this is page 1 and 2 out of 12 pages. I do like working on mini heids, and the reason I like working on minis is because I will be able to finish a mini, and I have 2 mini heids in the works, but every other haid that I've also purchased is a mini. So luckily, when June numbers were called, I had to have 1 page finish of Mini Autumn Magic. and boom, finished it because I did Monogamania. And the other whip that was called is in my Q-snap. And the reason it's in my Q-snap is because I'm still working on it. And I did take this to StitchCon because it has lots of, there are lots of fill-ins in the boxes. And I put, for my goal is that I would finish 3. So what I would like to finish is this box here, which I started at HadeCon, and I'd like to finish these 2 squares here and get the background and outlining finished. That will leave me one here and a half here. I was surprised with all of the compliments I got out of this piece of work, because to me, I'm just stitching it because I love it. Now, there were several people that were shocked that it was so small and that I was stitching 2 over 1 on 25 count. So what I would tell people is, this is me, right? I'd like to, and if you're new here, especially, I'd like to put I think I'm just going to split the screen. And on one side, I'm going to put what Design Works looks like, the pattern. It's a kit from Amazon. And on the other side, I'm going to include Christine Hamrick's poster of Coffee Break. And I fell in love with the poster before I ever found the cross stitch kit. And so all of the background stitching that you see in some of these, I've been doing all of this with colors that I choose to closely resemble what the original artwork looks like. And I am pleased. What you might be surprised with is this one. It's a gray and a green for the background. I've just chosen 2 colors out of the kit that's used in with the square, and I'm using that for the background, and it really is coming out nicely. So I haven't finished all the squares, but I am getting some requests for the colors that I'm using for the background, and absolutely I'll send you those colors. That's not a problem. But if you don't like any of these, here, I think this one might be a little dark. I love it, but it might be a little dark. And all you would do is switch out the colors. It's funny because when I was at StitchCon and I started this box, filling it in, I wasn't sure if I liked the background. And Chris, the woman sitting at my table, said, well, why don't you start over here where the shamrock is and put the background around that, and then you'll be able to tell. I'm not 100%, but I do like it, and it'll be fine once I have the back stitching in. So again, this is Coffee Break by Design Works. It's a kit that you can get on Amazon for under $20. And if you want the background colors, I don't have them written down on one piece of paper or in a document. But what I did was when I photocopied when I blew up the pattern so that I had 12 individual cups, I chose the colors then, and then I edited as I got to it. So that's taken care of. And I'll keep working on that in June. Before I see you again, Jolly July will have started. And I had planned on doing Fabulously Free Jolly July Part 2. But I want to get Eloise finished. And so I'm going to work on Joyful Teddy. And I'll share that with you in July when it comes up. And we have our new month. All right. So that will be my plan for July, and with whatever else Whitgo comes up with. And my plan for the rest of June is to work on my coffee break sampler. At StitchCon, I flew there on my own, which is not a big deal. I'm used to flying. I tried to be cordial to a couple of people, tried to have a conversation, and I was rebuffed both times. And so, that takes a little bit out of you when you're trying to be friendly and talk to people and they kind of like brush you off. But Wednesday night I went to bed, regrouped, took a breath, and Thursday I was back out there, and I was in line behind Colleen, who's Rebel Stitcher, and I was talking to her, and my friend Candy showed up, the 614 Stitcher, so we got to meet and hug in person. And then Chris was in line, and I started talking to Chris, which was great. Complete strangers. We didn't know each other, but by the end of by the end of Thursday, I think we both considered each other friends. So I went to a table where I thought there would be a plug for lighting, but come to find out every table did have outlets so that we could plug in under the table. And when I was getting ready to switch tables, I just wanted Chris to know, hey, I'm going to move, but you're welcome to move with me if you want to. And she did. That night, I went back to the room and went to sleep. Of course, I'm on California time, so I probably got up at 9, which was 6 a.m. here. And when I got back to the table, there were 2 new people, Jessica and Cammie. And if you're watching, ladies, and Chris, I really enjoyed meeting all 3 of you. And I'm not sure when Margaret showed up, but Margaret became our 5th. And hi, Margaret. I think we had a really wonderful group. There were times where we were quietly stitching, and yet there were other times where we were laughing and chatting and stitching and having a good time. So I did get to meet some people that I wanted to. I mentioned the 614 Stitcher, and then I went over and said hi to Janet Jabber, and I'm socially awkward, and I'll explain this a couple times. When I went to Janet Jabber, I wanted to ask her about One Nation, but of course, could I remember One Nation? No. And so she had to remind me of the 2 that she brought, and it was Janet Jabber and Creativity by Gidge, Amy, who actually inspired me to do One Nation as well. And I met Nicole Buckeye Stitcher. I couldn't remember her name, so I asked her. I knew she was the Buckeye Stitcher. She was working at StitchCon as a volunteer. And I'd always wondered if Sue Hills and Barbara were related. But it never mattered and I never asked anyone. But yes, and Sue Hills was there, and I got to speak to her for a few minutes because I really love her pirate patterns. Because in my life, the mascot for the high school that I work at is we're the pirates. And so had I known she'd be there, I may have brought one or two for her to sign. But that was great. And then Friday, Aaron and Jody got there, and I took tea drops they were good, but I didn't like them, and I knew I wouldn't drink them. And so, socially awkward me, I went over there and asked Erin, hey, do you have any extra space in your luggage? And she said yes. And I kind of threw the tea bags at her. I gave her the tea bags and quickly walked away. The next day, I went up and talked to her and Jody, which would have been Saturday. Saturday, I spent more time walking around and talking to people. I felt like I had my footing, but I still forgot. Things. But what was nice is everyone was friendly, and they took the time to listen and say hi, and I really liked that. One group that I didn't get to meet was from California, and they gave out these beautiful, I'm turning it the wrong way, these beautiful little floss strawberries, and that was from Donna and Diana, and I didn't think about it. I thought they were giving them out to everyone, and I put it in my little zipper bag, and then I saw they were from California, and I wish I had gone to talk to them, but actually I didn't know where they were. I also met the Sunshine Stitchers, and they're fabulous. Just fabulous. But I knew they would be. I knew Aaron and Jody would be, and the 614 Stitcher. I knew they'd all be fabulous. Because it's hard to fake a personality like that. They had a huge annex, and that was for any shopping that you wanted to do while you were there. And of course, I needed an 11 by 11 Q snap needed. And so I went in and got the Q snap. But I also ordered, I also got this chart, Home in the Garden, by Liz Matthews. And it was just very pretty. Very pretty. And so I didn't need another chart. But I don't have many samplers. And I thought this was simplicity. And it's something that I could do and enjoy. All right. So that was from the annex. And I also just wanted a little something that said StitchCon. And so I got a corner square. Right? Will I ever use it? I don't know. Gary and Garon tote bags were handing out needle minders and the keychain with Gary Green. The Sunshine Stitchers were handing out floss tags. Wonderful. I met the Stitchy Pros. She is a cross-stitch designer, Holly, and she was giving away her some copies of her patterns while she was at StitchCon. And she also had needle minders. And it wouldn't have been StitchCon without Albus, Colleen, or Rebel Stitcher's dog. Right? Got that. And just so many things. Now, I had purchased so many. Let's see if I can get these to you. You can see the bees and here are some hats. I apologize. I don't know which is worse because now I'm going to crinkle, and I know people don't like crinkle. So, I don't know. I'm trying not to be worse, but this is one of my awkward moments. Okay, look at that cat. So stinking cute. And then I have a witch. Well, no, it's not a witch. It looks like a fairy sitting on the moon. And a snail. Let's see if I need to take the snail. Yeah, I need to take them out. Besides, I'm hanging them upside down. I do try to have everything out and ready. I just knew that this one part might be loud. I was hoping to get away with not having them out. You have the snail. And then the one that I purchased the most of is this one. And I'll read it first and then I'll show it to you. They whispered to her, "You can't withstand the storm." She whispered back, "I am the storm." Let's see if that comes up. I loved it. I bought most of these, and I tell this to you in my clip that I'm going to drop in a few minutes, that to me this seemed like the year of diversity and inclusion, because that is something that really caught my attention. Sorry. Okay, no more crinkles. That was really something that caught my attention, and I wasn't necessarily looking for an African American needle minder, but this one really spoke to me, and so that's why I brought it. I did go to Keepsakes twice. The first time on the bus was overwhelming because I think they're not organized by designer, they're organized by theme, and so for me, it was too overwhelming. But I did buy a few items. I just loved that butterfly. And it's wax. Ymir, you're going to need to tell me if I should be using wax on silk or not. But whether I use it or not is irrelevant. It's just a really cute butterfly. I did buy something that said Keepsakes on it. And then I bought this chart, the Blackberry Rabbit bees, because I had $25 to spend from Candy, the 614 Stitcher. So thank you, Candy, because I'd won her drawing. And then the last thing I bought was 2 tiny pair of scissors, one in pink and one in yellow. And these are airport safe, or airport approved, and airport safe, I suppose. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and input my video right here with my small and the bags that I made, and then I'll come back and see you in a few minutes. So we're heading to the past, and the past me is going to tell you about what I made for StitchCon. Hello everyone, this is Shelley coming to you from the past, and today is June 8th. I leave for the airport in 15 hours and I arrive at StitchCon or Ohio, Cincinnati at 5 o'clock, and then I'll take an Uber to the hotel. And I'm so excited about this trip. Not only is it the first trip I've taken in over a year, but I'm going to get to meet so many like-minded people. I wanted to come on and shoot this video because I have bags that I made, and I have a small for the smalls exchange. And as I was packing, I thought, well, why not show you? Well, this is the third StitchCon, but there is a smalls exchange, and the only requirement is that it is a 6 by 6 inch piece. I did not start out planning to make this piece, but I am so thrilled with it nonetheless. I wanted this stitch to be a regal lady, and I think this Laura Ashley frame off Amazon does such a wonderful job. Now, I did have to stitch this 1/1 on 36 count. I will tell you the name of the fabric. The fabric is Picture This Plus Highland. And like I said, it was 1/1 full cross. The pattern is Ice Cream Ladies by Soda Stitch. And I didn't start out thinking that, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. So that being the case, I think this came out so remarkably beautiful. And there are some blues, greens, and yellows in the fabric. I bought another piece. I love it this much. What I had planned on making was a Mill Hill kit because I love stitching Christmas. And I thought, wouldn't this be a wonderful gift for someone? And I'm still going to make it. But then Whipco called one of my spots, and I'm not looking it up now. I'll talk to you about that in the future in the regular broadcast. And what came up was my square that said 1 Ice Cream Lady because there are 4. And I'll show you the picture in the future video. And I was thinking, I'm like, what do I do? Right? I want to do a small. Why don't I do an Ice Cream Lady and do a skin conversion? Because I was looking at skin conversions even before I created this. And then I looked at the fabric that I had, and I'm like, 36, but if I did 1/2, it would be too big. And then y'all know Ymir. Hi, Ymir. And she's, ever since I met her and we've talked, she goes, oh, I'll always encourage you to stitch 1/1. And that's what I went ahead and did so that it would come out a very small replica. I'm holding it up because I love it this much. I am going to be making more, I have to tell you. This frame comes in multiple sizes and multiple colors. And so I will tell you it's on Amazon.com. Now, what I debated with is, do I show viewers the back? And I hemmed and I hawed, and not because I'm embarrassed of my backs, I'm completely not. But then I said, well, I'm going to show them. Look at the back. Isn't that fabulous? Ain't none your business what it looks like behind this, because you'd have to open it to look. So if you are worried about what your backs look like, frame it. This is all people will ever see. And this lovely is gorgeous. And I'm not sure that you can read that, so I did bring it in a little closer. It says Representation Matters 2021. And I used Lord Liberdan's skin conversion, and I took a picture, and I bought all the different colors, and I just chose the range that I was interested in. All right, so I wanted to make a gift for my good friend Candy. Hi, Candy. I know you're watching. And she's already been given this gift in my future video. So I thought I would show you what I made. And I just love this fabric. And I'm sorry you really can't read it. But ultimately, I wasn't able to read it either and figure out what it was saying because of the vinyl front. But I bought 2 yards of this fabric because it looks like something we would put on a sampler as stitchers. But I believe for me, this has been the year of diversity, inclusion, representation matters. And I also believe that it's been a Black Lives Matter movement type of year. And so I wanted to make something like my small, like my bag, that represents that. And I couldn't be happier. I did make 2. Typically, I keep one for myself and I give one away, but these are both going to be gifts. And I'll tell you why in a little bit. The other bag I made, and I don't know who these are for, but ta-da! Si se puede. We can do it. And again, it's got the same fabric on the front and a 2021 pull tab. And I made 2 of these. Who are they for? I don't know, because I'm not keeping one for myself. Typically, I make 2, one for me and one to go away. But look at this. I absolutely love pinks, browns, and greens. And I made this one, that's a good view. I made this one for myself. And I fell in love with this fabric. And I only bought a 1/4 yard because a 1/4 of the yard was $10. And for me, that's a lot of money for fabric, but it's so worth it. And I found all 3 of these fabrics on Spoon Flower. And so these 2 I was able to combine. These 2, I'll get it because I'm doing it wrong again. These 2 I was able to combine into 1 yard on Spoon Flowers. So I had half a yard of each. And that's $19, but they have sales. And then, like I said, this one I paid close to $10 for. For me, totally worth it because I love the fabric. I could have purchased a yard on Spoon Flower. You can purchase a yard or a 1/4 of a yard. And for all I need is this one bag. I love this. This girl is so sassy. And those buns and the ribbons. Oh, I love everything about it. So that's the bag I'm going to keep. And then I made this bag. There we go. A little less. That's the front. And it's a little stinker. It's a skunk on the front. I mean, the back is a skunk. And you can see the small color variations in there. This one is mine. And I'll show you why. Because I'm going to turn it around. My stinker's upside down. Aww. Now, I could have felt bad and seam ripped it. But I'm so happy with it either way. In fact, I'm more in love with it because it is a mistake. It's a happy accident. Isn't that what Bob Ross said? No mistakes, happy accidents. And so now my skunk is on its back, ready for me to rub its belly. This one is a giveaway, and I don't know who it's going to. Now, I'm definitely keeping one of these for me, and typically I find something. Typically I keep the one, if I make two, I keep the one that is less perfect, because I'm doing the bag making to practice my sewing skills, and that's why I don't sell them, because they aren't perfect. And look, it's so stunning. I love cherry blossoms. Love it. But look at the back. This is a fabric I got at Joann's. In fact, all of the fabrics I buy are from Joann's. And the only 3 exceptions, that's a lie, because I've been ordering online. So yeah, this stinker, this fabric, both the front and the back, I bought online as well. And then I told you about the spoon flower, and I will link them below. So I am so flush with bags. In fact, I spent a lot of time crawling around on the ground to cut everything out. I went to work, put some tables together, and just cranked out a whole bunch of cuts. And now I'm ready just to sit and sew, which is much more enjoyable than crawling around on the ground trying to get something to cut perfectly. My legs are asleep. None of that. So next year, when I'm back at work in my classroom, I'll be able to cut out fabric when I'm waiting for students to show up for tutorial, or I'm hanging around after school for whatever reason. So without further ado, and as I say goodbye to you, I'm going to go ahead and turn back to our regularly scheduled FlossTube. Bye-bye. So what did you think? Hopefully you liked my bags. Ultimately, I gave away all the bags. I had the 4 people at my table. I had a bag for candy, and then I had 3 more bags. And after the first night, Friday night, they were, with the raffle tickets, they were giving away prizes, and I didn't realize it, but people had donated. So I took the 3 bags that I had left, all of them the diversity and inclusion with the African American fairy and the Si Se Puede, we can do it. I took those to Barbara and I asked if she would like one, and she actually wanted them all, and I took them to share, and so why wouldn't I? And if you get one of them, I hope you let me know. One was given away Saturday, and I assume the other 2 will be given away Friday and Saturday at StitchCon B. I gave, oh man, I forgot to write her name down. I have it somewhere. And now I feel bad because I'm going to say the lady. The lady that chose my bag chose it because of she said she really loved the fabric that I had. And so the reason I had included the fabric is because I am going to make her a bag. And so afterwards, I told her when she was ready to go ahead and bring me the fabric, and I would turn it into a project bag for her. And what I got, I was number 80. I had a white chip, number 80, and from where I was sitting, I could see a brown paper bag or a brown gift bag. And I thought to myself, I'm going to take the brown gift bag if it's still there, because I bet there's something wonderful in it. And when I got to the back, the person had taped cicada to it, and I didn't look closely enough to see if they were real or not, because those cicadas were dropping dead all over. They probably weren't. But as soon as I saw the cicadas, I'm like, what? Nope, I'm out of here. And I grabbed a Christmas bag. And this is the adorable flat fold that I received. And I chose Christmas. And I love that the smoke from the chimney is making a heart, and it's on blue fabric, and I love everything about this. So, Judy from Pennsylvania, thank you so much for your thoughtful gift and for our new friendship. I couldn't have asked for a better small. I love it 120%. I think there wasn't one small that I wouldn't have been happy with. And people were so nervous about, oh, will they like it? Or, oh, this, or oh, that. And I have to tell you, we were so happy with our treasures and with our new friendship, that even if there were flaws, it made the gift that much more precious to us. In fact, I showed you my little stinker bag where the skunk was on its back ready for its belly to be rubbed. Margaret took that bag, and I gave her a choice, and as I told you, the one that was my favorite, just for that reason. All right. So the second time I went to Keepsakes, Cammie drove, and I went back specifically to buy Jew design fabric. And I bought 3 pieces. And I love all of them. I also bought 2 pieces of color and cotton. So if you don't mind, I'll show you the color and cotton first. So this is 28 count Lugana color and cotton in the Fabric Way Hearth. I had to take the needle out to open it just a little bit more. Okay, a little bit of modeling. I'm trying. I told you guys, I don't know why, but I struggle. Ooh, I like that. You don't need to see me when you're looking at fabric, do you? So at Keepsakes, they keep the fabric in plastic containers, and then sometimes it's by designer, or I think it's mostly by designer, and then by count. So I didn't show you the tag. I did have just a little bit of sticker shock, because I wasn't expecting to pay $35 for a fat eighth. But I tell you what, it's so worth it. This is 36 count color and cotton in the colorway Stratus. And it's just a perfect blue for so many projects. And I love, love, love color and cotton. I'm still waiting to get into the color and the cotton fabric of the month. Are you in? Do you have any secrets? I mean, do you want out? I'll let you keep paying, and you can send me the fabric. But those were the 2 pieces of color and cotton that I got. And then I picked up 3 XJU design of various HPI. HPI is holes per inch. All right. This is brick powder. Such a lovely color. I don't have anything in this color, so that'll be wonderful to stitch with. And that's a 32 count. Give me a moment to put, I don't like that they're holding the paper on the fabric with the needle, but I can take that off later and replace it with something so I remember what it is. This is 36 count XJU Designs Marbled Khaki. And I've already Marbled Khaki, I already said this. I'm pretty sure Cammie got a piece of this as well, because when we got back, I'm like, oh, that looks like what I just bought. And it was. So I am so glad I went back for the XJU, because I've already started stitching on the next one. So let me show you the fabric first, and then I'll tell you the project. So this is 32 count My Little Dove by XJU Designs. And you'll see my start in the bottom, maybe. Oh, I went the wrong way. So you can probably see my start way down here. And let me make sure I'm on the correct side before I talk about it. So I showed you all of the, I'm sorry, I'm going on a little bird walk, but it'll get back to the fabric. So I showed you all of the needle minders I wanted to make. And I could have made them because I ordered them. Now, just my luck, all of those supplies arrived on Friday when I was already at StitchCon. And so I didn't have anything. Not that you have to take anything with you, but I had purchased 250 cards with my picture on it, and my YouTube channel, Oh My Ada, and my Instagram. And I put the picture on there because I didn't know if we'd have our face coverings on or not. And then on the back, I put my career as a high school teacher. I did put my unicorn chart, Bearing Gifts by Dimensions. And then there were 3 FlossTubers I watch that I put down there. Needlecraft Danny, Almond M&Ms, and the 614 Stitcher. I put them on there because they're not as well known as some of the others, and I do enjoy watching them. And then I put a quote on here. When you meet a true friend, you'll be bound together through space and time for 500 years. Dr. Spencer Reed. And I just really liked that sentiment. And I was going to put the um, needle minders on here and then be able to hand them out that way. I handed these out nonetheless to the people I talked to, but I have enough for next year as well. The quote and the unicorn chart will stay the same, but I'm not going to buy new ones. Come on. I'm not a spendthrift. Okay. So what I did instead is I took some Picture This Plus fabric. I was in the Picture This Plus Fabric of the Month Club for neutrals, 18 count Aida. And I took 5 packages of that, and I took floss for at least 12 people, and I asked those people that were interested to choose some fabric, and I gave them floss so that we could work on a start together. And I know you see those berries down in the corner. I'm going to actually put in the chart here, or an image of the chart. No, an image of the design. I wouldn't put the chart there. It's the Barbara Anna freebie from Barbara Anna Designs. You can get to it on her Instagram page, Barbara Anna Designs. Go to her link tree in the bio, and the last 2 entries, the key and light, are both freebies that are companion pieces. And so I knew that when I started this, that I would also do the key on the same fabric. But I think you can see why I need a fabric gauge. Look at how close I started to the edge. I don't know what I was thinking. But I do know that this XJU Design fabric is phenomenal. And if you haven't stitched on it, I would recommend trying it out. Chris told me it was fabulous. And I could tell when I started stitching on it at StitchCon that it was fabulous as well. I did already email to find out about being in the Fabric of the Month Club, and like Color and Cotton, she's not accepting new members right now, but I am on the wait list. So that was all that I purchased at StitchCon. But before I left for StitchCon, I purchased 2 other charts. One is Aureolus Kit, Chinese Lanterns. I love cherry blossoms. I love lantern festivals. I love anything similar to this. It is fully kitted. And it was one of those days where I was exhausted, and I was looking for something and ran into this and realized that I had to have it, Wenrose Mandala. And I also bought the silks because I love it so much. That's about all I have for you. But I am going to show you some charts that I picked up from the freebie table. If you're not interested in that, no hard feelings. I wish you well. I hope you have a great day and an excellent month. If you haven't subscribed, I know I have a subscribe button somewhere in this area. And thank you for joining me. For those of you that want to see the freebies from the freebie table, I'll show you what I can. And one was a So Many Stitches by Sue Hills. And I love the Singer sewing machine on the back as well. And it looks like there's scissors and a basket. I told you I love cherry blossoms. So I'm hoping that this chart or the stitch looks much better than the picture. I'll hold this. Okay. This is from Rosewood Manor. I like Rosewood Manor. They created Greyfriar Sampler, which I talked about earlier today but didn't show. And I also picked up two Victoria samplers. And the Lilac Chatelaine sampler, I simply picked this up because I've been wanting to do a chatelaine. Well, I would rather start with something like this, a smaller version, to see if I really even like the concept. So I'm going to stitch that. But I also like frankincense, gold, and myrrh, which are on the back here as well. So a whole bunch of charts back there on the freebie table. And then this is a strawberry sampler, a very Victorian strawberry sampler. So I thought maybe Deb at Punch Work and Primitive Needle. You'll know if I got that wrong, let me know. She brought us a chart, Americana. And then I found this. I will take it out of the plastic. My mom collected Hummel. She hasn't collected Hummel in a long time, but I think I might stitch that for her. And I took this chart, but I don't see myself doing it right now. So if you have a desire to stitch pandas, they're beautiful. There's a floss chart, not a floss chart. There's a floss key and a pattern, but you would have to do your own TMC conversions. This is so stinking cute. Love it. And I figured that this is a vintage chart. And the reason I believe it's a vintage chart is that this is a photograph on here, right? But I'm definitely 100% doing this one. And finally, someone put this sunset kit in, and it's absolutely lovely. I think the person started it. There seems to be a few stitches in the fabric, but Creativity by Gidge, this will be coming your way. All right. So the last thing I want to say is I found it. Molly. Hi, Molly. Molly is the person that won my Smalls Exchange. Molly from Pennsylvania. So I knew I had it. I set it aside so I wouldn't lose it. And I knew I wanted to talk about you because I'm going to make you a bag. All right. If you're interested in stitching light with us, I will come up with a hashtag, light the way, BAD Sal. Light the way, BAD Sal. Okay. And I'll put that across here. And for those of you already stitching this from StitchCon, we're using the hashtag StitchConA, light the way. Remember, no one's excluded from this. We just had a hashtag for StitchConA, but I would love for as many of you that want to stitch her as possible. Grab that freebie, get some floss, even if you're kitting it up yourself with your own colors on hand. Use the hashtags, and remember, every FFO begins with a single stitch. Take care, everyone.